Did you get that painful letter in the mail? The one that told you that your insurance premium is going up 25% or more? My friend Josh got his letter and it made him sick. His rate skyrocketed from $1,200 a month to a staggering $1,750 a month, more than his monthly mortgage payment. Are you frustrated with the rising cost of insurance? If you're self-employed, there may be something you can do about it. The first thing to know is that there are two types of medical expenses: the cost of your monthly insurance payments, called premiums, and everything else. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do to lower the cost of your monthly insurance premium. But there is a way you can offset the costs on everything else, including co-payments, deductibles, chiropractic care, braces, orthodontics, corrective eye surgery, and almost any other service you can think of, even the stuff that insurance never covers. So how do you lower the cost of these expenses? It all comes down to a simple tax law. It's a tax law that could save you $5,000 or more on your taxes. That would help offset the rising costs of insurance, am I right? Writing off the cost of your monthly insurance premium is pretty standard practice, so hopefully you're doing that already. But deducting everything else is mostly off limits. Or is it? In 1955, there was a provision added to Section 105 of the IRS tax code. This section allows a particular group of self-employed individuals to write off 100% of their medical expenses. Now, not everyone qualifies, but if you do, it could save you serious cash. This provision is most commonly referred to as a health reimbursement arrangement, or an HRA. I will show you how it works in just a minute, but first, it's important to understand what the normal rules are before you can appreciate how the HRA works. Under current law, including Obamacare, you can deduct medical expenses only after they exceed 10% of your income. For example, if you make $80,000 a year, then you can deduct medical expenses after they exceed $8,000. If you had $10,000 in medical bills, then the 10% rule would allow you to write off a mere $2,000. But if you qualify to use an HRA, you could legally skirt the 10% rule and deduct all $10,000. How's that better? If you were in an average tax bracket of 35%, it would save you $3,500 in taxes, even more if you're in a higher tax bracket. Total Administration Services Corporation is a third-party company that manages tens of thousands of these HRA plans for self-employed people. According to them, this strategy saves their HRA customers an average of $5,984 in taxes every year. So how does it work? First, a qualified business puts in place a formal written policy that complies with federal laws. The plan works kind of like a tuition reimbursement program for employees, only it's for medical expenses. The company agrees to reimburse employees for medical expenses not covered by insurance. So an employee submits a receipt for a medical expense, and the company reimburses the employee. Because this is offered as an employee benefit, the company gets to write off the entire cost. You might be asking, why haven't I heard about this before, or why isn't the media talking about this? One of the stipulations of the law states that you must offer it to all employees. It wouldn't make sense for a large company because they simply couldn't afford it. It would be too risky. But for a small business owner like you, it may work fantastic. If you're self-employed or run a family business, you're going to be paying yourself out of the business and then paying for those medical expenses. If you're going to be paying for the medical expenses anyway, wouldn't it be great to be able to write it off through your business? There are hundreds of thousands of businesses in the United States that have these plans. So if you're wondering if it's a legitimate strategy, you can rest assured. This strategy has been upheld in courts over and over again, and it is a completely legal strategy approved and accepted by the IRS. It's written right in their tax code. Consider what Sanford Botkin, an attorney that used to train IRS agents, said. This is a goldmine for self-employed people. If you qualify for this and you don't do it, you're insane. To prove his point, let's look at a couple of examples. First, James Monroe makes $70,000 a year. He's a 40-year-old real estate agent. James has 2 kids in braces and his wife wants corrective laser eye surgery this year. His estimated medical expenses will be $12,000 out of pocket. Without an HRA, the 10% rule would only allow him to deduct $5,000. However, with an HRA, he could deduct the entire $12,000, saving him $4,200 in taxes. Let's look at another example. Cheryl Thacker is a single woman age 50. She makes $45,000 a year as a direct sales consultant. Cheryl had to have surgery this last year, and after her insurance paid, she was left with a $4,000 medical bill. Without a plan, she wouldn't be able to write off anything because of the 10% federal income rule. With an HRA plan, however, she was able to deduct the entire $4,000, saving her $1,000 in taxes, assuming she was in a 25% tax bracket. So, how do you start a plan for your business? The easiest way to do this is use a third-party administration company to handle it. These plans have to stay in compliance with the ever-changing healthcare laws. So unless you're an expert in tax law and employment law, I wouldn't recommend it. In the past, these plans have been a paperwork nightmare to manage, even with many third-party administrators. In fact, most of these third-party administrators provide you with a cumbersome web portal where you can submit documents. Typically, you're required to upload many documents from many different sources for each expense. They require bills, proof of payment, proof of insurance contribution, etc. It's a slow, tedious process with lots of paperwork. But it's still worth it because it can save you tons of money. Now, we've got some great news. We have finally found a company that has simplified the process to make it manageable. We wholeheartedly recommend Total Administration Services Corporation, or TASK, to our clients. Why? Because they understand that you have a business to run and you don't need extra paperwork. They leverage technology and they've figured out how to make it painless. At Task, they provide you with a specialized debit card that you can connect to any bank you choose. The reason is actually brilliant. They do it so that they can process the transaction. By running it through their card and their system, they have first-hand knowledge about the expenses. So they can do all the paperwork for you. You don't have to do anything besides swipe your card when you pay for a medical expense. That's it. Nothing more. Just swipe it. You'll be free from spending hours of compiling documents or searching for insurance forms, receipts, and bank statements. All you do is pay for the medical expenses with the card, and they take care of the rest. It is one of the easiest things you can do to save on your business taxes. So how do you find out if you qualify for an HRA? Task has set up a special department of experts to help self-employed people find out if they could qualify. These professionals will spend 15 minutes with you on the phone to find out about your situation. They will help you determine if your business legally qualifies for an HRA plan. If you do qualify, they can help you set it up. If you don't, they can still point you in the right direction for other alternative solutions. Click the link below this video to request some information and set up a time to see if you could qualify. By the way, Task has agreed to give a $50 credit towards the setup of any plan for anybody that watches this video and clicks the link below to schedule a call. Here's another thing you might find helpful. Task has a $2,200 deduction guarantee. That's right. Once you have a Task HRA in place, you qualify for their money-back guarantee. If you don't find $2,200 or more in deductions from the HRA, then Task will refund your money, hassle-free. An added bonus that comes from the unique way that Task tracks the medical deductions through the debit card is that they will guarantee your tax compliance on the HRA. If you use the card to pay for your medical expenses, they guarantee your deductions in case of an audit. That's right. If you get audited, they will defend you in court at their cost. Okay, so this all sounds great, but what's the catch? Your savings only begins after you put a plan in place. You cannot backdate an HRA to help cover you for any time in the past. You can only start deducting medical expenses going forward from the time the plan is put in place. So the sooner you do it, the quicker you stop money from slipping through your fingers. With healthcare costs rising at an astronomical rate every year, you know you need to do something to offset your total cost. If you don't do it this year, then you'll be kicking yourself next year when you're looking back and realize that you're in the same situation you are in today. So schedule your free call now while it's on your mind, before you get too busy and end up paying too much next year. In summary, you might qualify to deduct 100% of your medical expenses legally with an HRA. This tax savings can help offset the rising cost of healthcare. It's painless to manage if you use a company that leverages technology like Task does. Task can help you find out if you qualify in less than 15 minutes on the phone. Setting up an HRA is easy and very inexpensive. Task provides a $2,200 deduction guarantee if you qualify, or it's free. And finally, Task is giving away a $50 credit to anyone who watches this video and requests some information on the HRA. Are you ready to find out if you qualify? Click the link below to request some more information. It's time for you to fight back against the rising cost of healthcare.